Look, we've told you this before and we're going to tell you this again.
Oh.
In terms of home athletic events at Carolina, home gymnastics meets one of the most fun things you can go to.
Yeah.
Jones has been telling you this for years. Today we've got
fast-paced, good action, like stuff that I promise you can't do that they're doing down there. So it's incredible to watch. It's awesome.
So you've heard it from a pseudo expert.
Yes.
But today we've got Julia Noer, an actual expert who's here to explain to us why we've been right all these years. Right. Julia, thanks so much for being with us.
Of course, glad to be here.
Tar Heel Gymnasts coming off an incredibly busy weekend with 2 meets in 3 days, but also a very successful weekend. How did you feel like the weekend went overall?
So definitely was a great experience having 2 meets in 3 days. We were talking about going into it that this is a great kind of mimicry of what the regionals is going to be like, because for gymnastics, regionals is 2 days and you get 1 break in between. So kind of going in lighthearted, ready to gather information, gain some new experience. So yeah, it was a great weekend.
All right, tell us a little bit about the team this year. If folks haven't been paying close enough attention, which they should be, tell us a little bit about what's been going on. It's been a great season so far.
Right, so this has been a really breakout season for us this year. Last year was the first year for our head coach, Coach Dana Durante. So going into this season, kind of having, upping the bar, raising the expectations a little bit, and we've definitely met that for our coach. Still room to climb, still room to grow, of course. But for our home meets, I'm pretty sure we broke in a 196, which is a big deal in the gymnastics world, to clarify. I know scores can sometimes go over people's head, but all of our home meets so far, we've broken a 196. And for our away meets, we count 3 scores for all of our away meets.
Right.
That's how we basically are. That's how we know our ranking going into the postseason. So it's very important, away scores, which is also why this weekend was very, very important to us, because we were away and we needed to get those higher away team scores. And we got I think a high 195 at our first meet. Or we got a high 195 yesterday, actually. And then on, when did we compete? Friday. I'm pretty sure we got like one of our highest bar scores. Also shout out our team's bars. I mean, I don't mean to brag, but our team's bars is pretty rocking this year. That's all I'm gonna say. I think we broke into a 49 almost every single time we've gone out there and competed.
Okay, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Number one, I feel like gymnastics is as hard on your body, like just straight physically, as any athletic competition. I know every athletic competition is difficult.
Yes.
But it feels like it's so hard on your body. How do you manage just your physical, the way you feel through a long season? Right,
so definitely prioritizing sleep, first of all. But also in gymnastics, it's really usual to tape. I tape both my ankles, because like you said, gymnastics is a really hard impact sport. Even though it's not impact with another team or another person, when we land those landings, it's really hard on the knees, the ankles, the back. So prioritizing rest and recovery for sure. After home meets, we are required to go in the cold tub right after. So we wake up the next day, not too sore, because we compete every single weekend for 10 weeks in a row. That can be a lot, especially with double meet weekends, traveling, that's a lot. So prioritizing that at home, but also away. We always make sure to have a room in a hotel where treatments can be set up for us. Our coach really puts it as a priority. We always have time for the recovery aspect. So yeah, but that is one thing I think a lot of people don't really understand about gymnastics, because it looks really easy, because that's our job, and people don't think about when you land, especially during a floor routine, just the impact that takes on your body. So yeah.
Only a true expert like Jens.
Yeah, no, I know. Trust me, I live the gymnastics life and all about it.
You mentioned how good the Tar Heels are on the bars. You're really good on floor. I like floor because it's a good mix of stuff I can't do and personality. I like how the whole team does the routine with you. I like that whole thing. Why are you so good on floor?
So I think going into my sophomore year, I kind of really encompassed the idea of showing who I am through my routines. And this year I picked my music. I don't know if you noticed, it's AC/DC, Pink Floyd. Oh yeah. You know, I have to say I have an old soul. I love 80s music, so I was like, you know, this really encompasses who I am. So when I go out and perform, I'm going to show people who I am, show them a little bit of my personality.
Sure.
Because it's the only event that you really have the opportunity to do that. So I just say, like, I really like to go out there and give a show, give a performance, because that's what it's all about, you know? People come to watch, and I'm just out there having fun, so.
How do you, so there's so much preparation for such a short amount of time in which you are actually competing.
Yes.
Like a vault only takes a couple seconds.
Yeah.
So when you're in that moment, and it is such a short amount of time that you're competing, how do you lean back on your training? I guess, like, how does all that work where you have so much time that's put in for such a short amount of payoff?
Right. Well, when it comes down to it, the only word that comes to my mind is trust. Like, you have to trust that you know how to do it. You've done those reps so many times, like you said, in the gym. Like, when we go and compete, it's one routine, but, you know, in practice, it's, you know, 5 to 6,
right.
You know, we're doing that. We're training, breaking it down, doing drills, all of that. For, you're right, those 3 seconds that we go out and compete. So honestly, when I go out there and I raise my hands and I salute, I just kind of fall back on trusting that I've put in the work. You know, I've done everything I can do leading up to this moment. I know my team believes in me. I believe in myself. So just gonna enjoy these next 3 seconds and give it everything I got, really.
You mentioned this past weekend, a lot of travel, a lot of time on a bus.
Yes.
Who is the best person to sit next to if you're on the gymnastics road trip? If you sit next to this person, you know it's going to be fun, but also they're not going to bother you the whole time. Like, who's the best travel mate when you're on a long road trip like that?
All right, I have to say J.D. Schreither. She's in my class. We've been roommates since freshman year, so I have to say she's always cracking jokes. She is definitely the funniest on the team, like, for sure. If you hear anybody say anything and everybody's laughing, you know Jay said it. Like, you just already know. She sat by me on the bus most of the time, and when she wasn't, I got up and went and sat by her. You know, I think over the past 4 days, we spent about 20 hours on a bus. Yeah, long time. So, you know, I really leaned on her to lighten the mood when it needed to be lightened.
All right, favorite. No, we talked about floor already. Let me say this. What's your least favorite event? What's the one that just naturally is the hardest for you to get into?
I'd say bars.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know. Ever since I competed in high school, when I was in club, bars just never was my thing. When you think about it, in the gymnastics perspective, it is the one event that is so different from the rest. Like, there's some similarities between vault, beam, and floor, but when it comes to bars, it's like a whole different rodeo. Like, it is so different, and it took me a long time to really, like, adjust to that, and I feel like it's only when I came into college and got my bar coach, Amelia Hunley. She's the best. Really the best. She completely changed my mindset on bars, and I've definitely gotten better at it, but it's still so different than the other 3. So it's definitely when you get to that event and it's time to compete, a whole different mindset going into that.
Is what's different about it the strength that's needed, or just I mean, I can understand that you're not doing as many flips. But.
Yeah, I would definitely say strength aspect, because when I think of the other 3 events, it's mostly legs, you know,
right.
Vault, you're running, floor, complete endurance, beam, you got to make sure your legs and your core are tight, but bars, it's all your arms, shoulders, all grip strength, and it's just like, I go into all my other events thinking, you know, strong legs, you know, tight core, but when I go to bars, I'm like, all right, my arms, they got to be working, you know, like, because you're always upside down, always using them, so I would say that for sure.
I wish we had longer than 10 minutes. I could just sit here and talk gymnastics with Julia for hours, but we're out of time. I cannot urge you enough. Go check out the Tar Heels when they're at home. It's so much fun to watch a gymnastics meet. It is constant action, it moves fast, and it is impressive athletic feats, there's no question.
Friday night.
Friday night,
this
coming
Friday
up.
night at home.
Be there. Julia, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.